As we stand at the doorstep of 2025, let's pause for a moment to embrace the gift of this moment, this fresh start. Every January feels like the first chapter of a new book, filled with blank pages waiting for us to write our story. Courage is one of the most transformative forces in our lives, yet it's often misunderstood. Many people equate courage with fearlessness, picturing acts of heroism or grand gestures. But in reality, courage rarely feels bold or fearless in the moment. Courage feels vulnerable. It feels like taking a step into the unknown, knowing there are no guarantees. It's about showing up. Even when you don't have all the answers, even when you feel exposed, even when you're not sure how things will turn out. Think about the moments in your life when you've had to muster true courage. Maybe it was speaking up for yourself in a situation where it felt easier to stay silent. Perhaps it was making the difficult decision to walk away from something that no longer served you, even though the thought of leaving was terrifying. Or it could have been as simple and as profound as saying, I need help. Each of these moments, though different in context, shares a common thread. They required you to step into discomfort for the sake of something greater. Courage isn't just about the big moments. It's about the small, everyday decisions that define who we are. It's about being honest when it's easier to hide behind a mask. It's about pursuing dreams that others might not understand, knowing that your passion is enough reason to try. It's about showing kindness, even when the world feels harsh, because you believe in the power of compassion to change things for the better. One of the hardest parts about courage is that it often means embracing uncertainty. Human beings are wired to seek comfort and predictability, but courage asks us to move beyond that. It asks us to risk failure, rejection, or criticism. And yet in doing so, we discover something remarkable. The more we practice courage, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle that grows with use. What's incredible is that courage has a ripple effect. When you act courageously, you inspire others to do the same. Your willingness to take risks, to be vulnerable, to stand up for what you believe in, it creates a spark that can ignite change not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. As we step into 2025, let courage be your guide. Let it lead you toward the life you want, even if the path feels uncertain. Because every act of courage, no matter how small, is a step toward growth, authenticity, and fulfillment. Connection is one of the most fundamental needs we have as human beings. It's woven into the fabric of who we are, yet it's something many of us struggle to maintain in a world that often prioritizes productivity over presence and individual success over collective well-being. Connection isn't just about being around people, it's about truly seeing and being seen. It's about creating spaces where we can show up authentically without fear of judgment and know that we belong. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to confuse surface-level interactions with meaningful connection. We scroll through updates, double-tap photos, and send quick messages, all while missing the depth that comes from real, intentional interaction. True connection requires more than a passing moment. It asks us to slow down, to pay attention, and to prioritize the people who matter most. It's about being fully present, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Think about the relationships that have had the greatest impact on your life. They likely aren't the ones built on convenience or obligation, but on moments of shared vulnerability and understanding. A connection thrives when we're willing to be honest, to let down our walls, and to listen not just to respond, but to truly hear. It's in the conversations where we feel understood, the laughter that reminds us we're not alone, and the quiet moments where words aren't even necessary. Connection also requires effort. It's easy to take relationships for granted, assuming they'll always be there when we need them. But like anything valuable, connection needs care and attention to grow. This could mean setting aside time for a phone call instead of sending a text, showing up for someone in their time of need, or simply saying, I see you and I'm here. These small acts of intention create bonds that withstand the test of time and distance. Importantly, connection isn't just about what we receive, it's also about what we give. When we make space for others, when we offer kindness, understanding, or a shoulder to lean on, we not only strengthen our relationships, but also enrich our own lives. There's a profound joy in being part of something bigger than ourselves, in knowing that our presence matters to someone else. As we move through 2025, let's make connection a priority. Let's put down our distractions and pick up conversations that matter. Let's invest in the relationships that nurture our souls and make time to nurture others in return. Because in a world that often feels disconnected, choosing to connect is one of the most powerful and meaningful choices we can make. Curiosity is one of the most underrated yet powerful traits we can nurture in ourselves. It's the spark that keeps us asking questions, exploring new ideas, and seeking deeper understanding. As we grow older, the wonder we had as children can often fade, replaced by the need to feel certain, in control, or competent. But life's most meaningful experiences often come not from knowing the answers, but from daring to ask the questions. When we approach the world with curiosity, everything becomes an opportunity to learn and grow. Challenges transform from obstacles to puzzles waiting to be solved. Differences between people become chances to understand new perspectives rather than sources of division. Even our failures take on a new light, offering insights we might never have discovered otherwise. Curiosity turns the mundane into the extraordinary by encouraging us to see beyond the surface. One of the beautiful things about curiosity is that it thrives on openness. It's about being willing to say, I don't know, but I'd like to find out. It asks us to let go of the fear of looking foolish or the pressure to have everything figured out. Instead, it invites us to embrace a mindset of discovery. This isn't always easy in a world that often equates not knowing with weakness, but the truth is that curiosity is a form of strength. It takes courage to step into the unknown and explore possibilities without guarantees. Curiosity also has the power to deepen our relationships. When we're curious about the people around us, we ask better questions. We listen more attentively, not just to respond, but to truly understand. Curiosity allows us to move beyond assumptions and judgments, creating space for empathy and connection. It's a reminder that everyone we meet has a story, and the more we seek to learn about it, the richer our interactions become. In the broader sense, curiosity fuels innovation and creativity. Many of the world's greatest discoveries and breakthroughs began with someone asking, what if or why not? Curiosity challenges us to look at the familiar in new ways, to push boundaries, and to reimagine what's possible. It keeps us from settling for the status quo and inspires us to keep growing. As we embrace 2025, let's choose to cultivate curiosity in our lives. Let's approach the year not with a checklist of things we think we should know or achieve, but with an open heart and mind. Let's allow curiosity to guide us toward experiences, people, and ideas that expand our horizons and enrich our journey. Because in a world that's constantly changing, curiosity is what keeps us moving forward with wonder and possibility. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most transformative practices we can integrate into our daily lives. It's easy to overlook the power of a grateful heart, especially when we're caught up in the hustle of daily life or when we're facing hardships. But gratitude has a profound ability to shift our perspective, making even the most challenging moments feel more bearable. It's about choosing to focus on what we have, not just what we lack, and recognizing the goodness that already exists around us, even in times of difficulty. When we make gratitude a regular practice, we begin to notice the small things that might otherwise pass us by. The warmth of a cup of coffee in the morning, the laughter shared with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset, all of these moments hold value when we stop to appreciate them. But gratitude isn't only about the easy moments, it's about finding silver linings in the tougher times too. In every setback, there's something to be learned, and even in the face of adversity, we can find opportunities for growth. Gratitude doesn't deny pain or hardship, it simply shifts our attention to the parts of life that still offer light. One of the most powerful effects of gratitude is how it can change our brain's wiring. Studies have shown that when we consciously practice gratitude, we activate parts of the brain associated with happiness, reward, and positive emotions. It's as if gratitude creates a cycle of positivity that feeds into itself, making us more attuned to the good things around us. When we focus on what's going right, we're more likely to attract more of the same, which is why gratitude is often described as a magnifier of joy. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When we express appreciation for others, whether through a simple thank you, a heartfelt note, or a kind word, we deepen our connections with them. People want to feel valued, and when we acknowledge the impact they have on our lives, we create bonds built on mutual respect and love. Gratitude opens the door for deeper empathy, as it reminds us of the shared humanity in all our experiences. Perhaps most importantly, gratitude reminds us to be present. It pulls us away from dwelling on past regrets or worrying about future uncertainties. Instead, it grounds us in the here and now, where we can savor what's happening in the moment. As we move into 2025, let gratitude be our guide. Let it shape how we approach our days, our relationships, and our challenges, because when we choose to live with gratitude, we unlock a wellspring of joy that can sustain us through any storm. As we navigate life, one of the most profound sources of joy and fulfillment comes from the relationships we build. Connection with others isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. It's through relationships that we find meaning, understanding, and a sense of belonging. And yet, in a world that often prioritizes individual achievement, it's easy to overlook the importance of the deep, authentic connections that truly nourish our souls. Connection is more than just being surrounded by people. It's about being seen, heard, and understood by those who matter most. The quality of our relationships often determines the quality of our lives. When we share our victories, our struggles, and our hopes with others, we feel less alone. We gain perspective, find comfort, and learn from each other's experiences. True connection allows us to be vulnerable, to show up as our authentic selves without fear of judgment or rejection. It's in these moments of vulnerability that our bonds with others become stronger and more meaningful. When we let down our guard, we invite others to do the same, creating a space where trust and understanding can thrive. However, building and maintaining meaningful connections takes effort. In our busy lives, it's easy to fall into the trap of passing interactions that don't foster true intimacy. We may exchange pleasantries with coworkers or send brief texts to friends, but real connection requires time and presence. It asks us to set aside our distractions and show up fully for the people who matter to us. This might mean putting down our phones during a conversation, making time for a face-to-face meetup, or simply listening without the urge to respond or fix. Equally important is the act of showing empathy in our relationships. Empathy is the ability to feel with others, to step into their shoes and understand their feelings and experiences. When we empathize with those around us, we strengthen the bonds we share and foster a sense of community. Empathy isn't just about being kind, it's about understanding the unique struggles and joys that others experience and being there for them in meaningful ways. It helps us to recognize that everyone we encounter is carrying their own story and challenges. Vulnerability is often viewed as a weakness, something to be avoided or hidden, yet it is one of the most powerful sources of strength we have. To be vulnerable is to embrace uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, and it is in these very moments that we open ourselves to authentic connection and growth. Vulnerability is not about being perfect or having all the answers, it's about being real, allowing ourselves to be seen and letting go of the need to control how others perceive us. It's about showing up as we are, flaws and all, and trusting that this authenticity will lead us to deeper, more meaningful experiences. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we break down the walls that separate us from others. We invite connection in its truest form, where people are not drawn to an idealized version of ourselves, but to the real, messy, imperfect human being beneath the surface. It's only when we allow ourselves to be seen in our rawness that we can create the kind of bonds that truly matter. Vulnerability fosters trust because it shows others that we are willing to be open, to share our fears, our dreams, and our struggles without the facade of perfection. This is what allows for real intimacy when we no longer hide behind masks or pretenses. One of the most liberating aspects of vulnerability is that it invites us to be courageous in the face of uncertainty. It's about acknowledging that we cannot control everything, that we cannot always predict the outcome of our actions, and that failure is a natural part of the journey. Vulnerability asks us to take risks, to try new things, to speak up even when we're unsure, and to express our emotions even when they make us feel exposed. The paradox is that it's precisely by letting go of control and embracing vulnerability that we find our greatest strength. Vulnerability also has the power to heal. When we share our struggles, we realize that we are not alone. We discover that others have walked similar paths, and through these shared experiences, we find comfort, support, and understanding. Vulnerability creates space for empathy. When we are willing to be open about our pain, others feel more comfortable doing the same, and in this exchange, we build a sense of community. In a world where many feel isolated or disconnected, vulnerability is a bridge that brings people together. As we look ahead to 2025, let us embrace vulnerability not as something to fear, but as something to cherish. Let it be the key that unlocks deeper connections, personal growth, and greater authenticity. By embracing our vulnerability, we not only allow ourselves to grow, but also create the space for others to do the same. It is in this shared vulnerability that we find true strength, compassion, and the courage to be our full, imperfect selves. Dreams are often painted as distant, unattainable goals, reserved for those with exceptional talent or extraordinary circumstances. But the truth is that dreams are not reserved for a select few, they are for everyone, and they begin with a single, simple step action. The process of achieving something meaningful, something that stretches us beyond our comfort zone, is not about achieving perfection in one giant leap, but about breaking down the dream into small, manageable steps that we can take every day. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the enormity of our aspirations, but the key is not to focus on the final destination, rather, it's to pay attention to the journey and make consistent, intentional progress. When we dream big, we're tapping into our deepest desires, the things that ignite passion within us and make us feel alive. But big dreams, if left unchecked, can quickly become sources of stress or disappointment, especially if we don't know how to translate them into actionable steps. The trick is to break those grand visions down into smaller, achievable tasks. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the scale of the dream, we focus on what we can do today, what small action we can take right now to move closer to where we want to be. These small, consistent steps may not seem like much on their own, but over time they add up to something far greater than we could have imagined. This approach, where we focus on daily progress rather than instant results, helps us to manage expectations and to stay motivated even in the face of setbacks or challenges. It also allows us to celebrate the small wins along the way, which are just as important as the final achievement. Each step forward is a victory in itself, a testament to our dedication, resilience, and commitment to our vision. Moreover, when we take small, intentional steps toward our dreams, we develop the mindset necessary to overcome the obstacles that inevitably arise. Dreams are rarely achieved without some form of resistance, whether it's fear, doubt, or external challenges, but it's the daily pursuit of progress that helps us build the resilience to keep going. We learn that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities to grow, adjust, and refine our path. As we look ahead to 2025, let's focus on the power of small steps. Rather than being discouraged by the magnitude of our dreams, let's break them down into actionable, realistic tasks that we can work toward each day. With consistency, patience, and a belief in the process, those small steps will carry us closer to the life we've always envisioned. Every journey begins with a single step. Let's take that first step, knowing that each one after will bring us closer to the future we desire. Dreams are often seen as the ultimate motivators in life, the vision that pulls us forward, shaping our actions and decisions. Yet dreams on their own can also feel intangible, distant, and daunting, especially when we look at the gap between where we are and where we want to be. Many of us become paralyzed by the enormity of our dreams, wondering how to take the first step, unsure of where to start. But the truth is, dreams are not achieved in a single grandiose moment. They are the result of consistent effort, small actions taken every day, and the willingness to stay committed even when the road ahead feels uncertain. The key to turning our dreams into reality lies not in waiting for the perfect moment, but in taking the first step, no matter how small it might seem. It's about focusing less on the end result and more on the daily process of becoming the person who is capable of achieving those dreams. Every great achievement is built on a series of small, often overlooked actions that accumulate over time. Whether it's learning something new, honing a skill, or making a connection, each small step moves us closer to our ultimate goal. What often holds people back is the belief that dreams should be accomplished in grand leaps or that every step must be flawless. But the reality is that perfection is not the goal, progress is. Success comes from the willingness to make mistakes, to learn from them, and to keep moving forward regardless of the setbacks we encounter along the way. When we embrace imperfection and focus on the incremental steps, we free ourselves from the pressure to have everything figured out from the start. We learn to embrace the messiness of the journey, knowing that each misstep is part of the process. One of the greatest obstacles to pursuing our dreams is fear, the fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or fear of stepping into the unknown. But fear doesn't have to stop us, it can actually be a powerful motivator. Each time we take a small step toward our dreams, we build our courage, dispelling the fear that once seemed insurmountable. It's the act of moving forward, even with fear in tow, that helps us build confidence and resilience. As we move into 2025, let's focus on the small actions that will move us closer to our dreams. Rather than waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal circumstances, let's start with what we can do today. These small actions, taken consistently, are the building blocks of a life lived with intention. The dreams we have are within reach, but only if we are willing to put in the work, one small step at a time. Every moment counts, and every step forward matters. Let's begin now and trust that the journey will lead us exactly where we need to go. Self-compassion is a practice that has the power to transform our lives from the inside out. It is easy to be kind and understanding toward others when they are struggling, yet we often find it difficult to extend the same level of care and patience to ourselves. We are quick to criticize, judge, and hold ourselves to impossibly high standards. This lack of self-compassion can lead to feelings of inadequacy, stress, and burnout, making it even harder to move forward in our personal and professional lives. However, when we practice self-compassion, we shift from self-criticism to self-acceptance, allowing ourselves the grace to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. At the core of self-compassion is the understanding that being human means experiencing challenges, setbacks, and pain. We often think of self-compassion as a form of self-pity or weakness, but in truth, it is a powerful tool for healing and growth. It acknowledges that suffering is a natural part of life, and instead of turning away from it, we learn to be kind to ourselves in those moments of struggle. When we can treat ourselves with the same care we show others, we are better equipped to face life's difficulties with resilience and strength. Self-compassion also encourages a shift in how we view failure. Instead of seeing failure as something to avoid or be ashamed of, we learn to see it as a valuable part of the learning process. It is through our failures that we gain insight, develop resilience, and grow stronger. When we can view failure with compassion, we release the need for perfection and open ourselves to growth. This mindset allows us to move forward with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than fear and self-doubt. Moreover, self-compassion is not just about being kind to ourselves when things go wrong, but also about celebrating our successes and acknowledging our worth. It's easy to downplay our accomplishments or chalk them up to luck, but practicing self-compassion means recognizing our efforts and honoring the work we've put in. By giving ourselves credit for the progress we've made, no matter how small, we build our self-esteem and create a positive feedback loop that motivates us to keep going. As we enter 2025, let's commit to practicing self-compassion every day. Let's challenge the inner critic that tells us we're not good enough or that we don't deserve happiness. Instead, let's embrace our humanity with all its imperfections and treat ourselves with the kindness, understanding, and patience that we so often reserve for others. When we are compassionate toward ourselves, we free ourselves to be the best version of who we truly are, with all our flaws and all our potential. Courage is often seen as the ability to act without fear, but true courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite it. It's the decision to show up in our lives, fully engaged and ready to face whatever challenges come our way, even when we feel uncertain, vulnerable, or afraid. Courage is not about being fearless, but about having the strength to face our fears, to push through discomfort, and to act in alignment with our values, even when it's difficult. Every time we choose courage over fear, we are taking an important step toward growth and transformation. The beauty of courage lies in its ability to empower us to break through the barriers that hold us back. It might be the courage to speak up when we feel our voice doesn't matter, to take on a new challenge when we don't feel fully prepared, or to change direction when we're not sure what the outcome will be. Courage doesn't require certainty, it simply requires action. It's the willingness to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to trust that even if things don't go as planned, we will learn and grow from the experience. Often, fear keeps us stuck in our comfort zones, preventing us from pursuing our dreams or making the changes we desire. Fear tells us that we're not good enough, that we'll fail, or that we'll be judged. But courage is the antidote to fear. It reminds us that failure is not the end, but rather a natural part of the journey. It's through failure that we build resilience, gain wisdom, and develop the courage to keep moving forward. Every time we face our fears head on, we become stronger, more capable, and more confident in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Courage is also about trusting ourselves, believing that we have what it takes to navigate the challenges we face. It's about leaning into our inner strength and resilience, even when things feel uncertain. It's about recognizing that we are not alone in our struggles, and that we have the capacity to find solutions, ask for help, and keep going. When we cultivate courage, we are reminded of our own power and ability to create change in our lives, regardless of the obstacles in our path. As we move into 2025, let us embrace courage as a way of life. Let us choose to show up for ourselves, take risks, and step out of our comfort zones. Let us not wait for fear to disappear before taking action, but choose to move forward despite it. Because when we live with courage, we not only unlock our own potential, but we inspire others to do the same. Courage is not just about taking big leaps, it's about showing up consistently and taking those small, brave steps that lead us toward the lives we want to create. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth and transformation. It is through self-reflection that we come to understand who we truly are, what drives us, and how our actions align with our values. In a world that often encourages us to look outward for validation, success, and happiness, self-reflection invites us to turn inward and examine the choices we make, the emotions we experience, and the thoughts that shape our behaviors. It's through this introspective process that we gain clarity, learn from our mistakes, and create a more intentional and authentic life. Self-reflection allows us to step back and assess our experiences from a broader perspective. It helps us to recognize patterns in our behavior, identify areas for growth, and celebrate the progress we've made. When we reflect on our actions and reactions, we can better understand why we do the things we do and whether those actions are in alignment with our true selves. This awareness is the first step toward meaningful change. Without self-reflection, we can easily get caught in autopilot mode, repeating the same behaviors and habits without ever questioning whether they serve us or help us move closer to our goals. In addition to helping us understand our behavior, self-reflection fosters emotional awareness. It allows us to connect with our feelings, both positive and negative, and learn from them. By paying attention to how we feel in different situations, we can identify our emotional triggers and better manage our responses. Self-reflection enables us to create space for self-compassion and empathy, allowing us to process our emotions in healthy ways instead of suppressing or avoiding them. This emotional clarity helps us to make decisions that align with our values and priorities, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Self-reflection also strengthens our relationships. When we take the time to reflect on our interactions with others, we gain insights into how we communicate, how we show up in relationships, and how our behavior impacts those around us. It helps us to identify areas where we may need to apologize, set boundaries, or express gratitude. By becoming more self-aware, we improve our ability to listen, empathize, and connect with others on a deeper level. This, in turn, fosters stronger, more meaningful relationships. As we enter 2025, let us make self-reflection a regular practice in our lives. Let's carve out time to check in with ourselves, to ask important questions, and to listen to our inner wisdom. Let's use self-reflection not as a tool for self-judgment, but as an opportunity for growth and self-compassion. By reflecting on our experiences, we can continue to evolve, make conscious choices, and live a life that truly reflects who we are and what we want to contribute to the world. Self-reflection is a gift we can give ourselves every day, one that allows us to become more aligned with our deepest values and desires. As we step into the new year, it's essential to carry with us the wisdom we've gathered and the lessons we've learned. The journey toward growth, happiness, and fulfillment is not a straight path, but a series of intentional steps, small acts of courage, and moments of self-reflection. Each of us has the power to create a life that aligns with our deepest values, that celebrates our unique qualities, and that encourages us to be our most authentic selves. By embracing the power of vulnerability, cultivating meaningful connections, practicing self-compassion, and taking consistent, courageous action toward our dreams, we unlock the potential within us to transform our lives. The road ahead may have its challenges, but we can face them with resilience, strength, and a commitment to the process of becoming. With each step we take, no matter how small, we move closer to the person we are meant to be. So let's approach this new year with open hearts, ready to embrace the opportunities for growth, connection, and joy that await us. Let's remember that the power to shape our future lies not in perfection, but in progress, one intentional, courageous step at a time. Here's to a year of embracing who we are, stepping into who we can become, and living with purpose and passion. Happy New Year. So tell me, how was 2024 for you? What's one hope or intention you're carrying into 2025? Let's start the conversation, because together we're stronger. Here's to courage, connection, and curiosity. Here's to you. And here's to making 2025 a year to remember. Happy New Year. Thank you.